Hello, it's Mr. Easony here again with homework help for section 10.1. We did start a new chapter, and this chapter is in geometry. And so there are a lot of terms and new things that the kids are going to have to recognize. So I put two different slides on this video. The first one you see here, and it just gives you a few different terms that we're going to be talking about, and they're going to help you with the homework tonight. A point, it just looks like a dot with a letter on it. And the next three are actually the most important because you're going to have to draw some of these and identify these. So a line is a straight path of points that continues without end in either direction. So basically it goes on forever in both directions. And what's really important here is to look at how it is written, and that is right in here. And the reason that's important is because if it asks you to draw BC and it has that symbol over top, the little arrow or the little line with two arrows on it, that means you need to draw a line that looks like the draw it section. Okay? The next one is a line segment, and that is similar, but it stops at both ends. It does not go on forever. So if you see that line on top with no arrows, that means you draw a line segment. And the last one is a ray, and that means that it has one stopping spot, but it goes on forever in one direction. So if you see the line with an arrow on one end, you know that you need to draw a ray. So with that being said, we're going to go and look at the next. So number one says draw and label AB, and it has that line segment symbol at the top, and it says to draw it in the space to the right, and it also gives us a line for us to tell what type of thing we're drawing. So we know that it is a line segment, so we will write that. And then we will move it over just a little bit so we can draw line segment AB. So we'll draw 2 points. We'll connect them with a line, and since they do not go on forever in either direction, we need no arrows. All we need now is the letter A and the letter B. So that's how you draw a line segment AB. Next it says draw and label an example of each figure for 2, 3, and 4. So it says draw XY, and that symbol means line, which means it does go on forever in either direction. So we will still draw our 2 points. But when we draw our line through it, we will leave space on each end to put an arrow. And so what we'll do is we'll just label each point X and Y, and that is line XY. Next, we're drawing an obtuse angle K. Now the reason I did not include a slide for this is because they did this in math groups, and I think that we did a pretty good job of understanding which angles were which. An obtuse angle means it's bigger than the corner of a piece of paper, and so we will just draw an angle that looks like this. It's bigger than the corner of a piece of paper. We'll put arrows on it, and when they only give us one letter, that letter goes in the middle in the vertex, and then we can either leave it like this or we can just pick any old letters for the other 2 points. I'm going to pick J and E, my initials. Nice and simple. Number 4 says draw a right angle CDE, and a right angle is exactly the corner of a piece of paper, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it should look for the most part like it's the corner of a piece of paper. And since we do have letters, we need to label it. It does not matter whether the C goes on top or on the right. What does matter is that that D is in the middle. So we will draw a C on top, and we will draw an E under it, and that is CDE. Now what we'll do is we will finish up, and 5 and 6 have to do with this picture over here, figure M. And so number 5 says name a line segment, and we know a line segment has 2 points and they do not go on forever. So in this shape there are 4 sides, which means there are also 4 line segments, because in every shape you have, each of those sides is a line segment. So we have line segment TU, we have line segment TV, VW, and WU. Doesn't matter which way you say the order of the letters, as long as you have, say, two that are connected, and you put the symbol up top. So I will identify line segment VW by writing a V and a W and putting a line on top. No arrows. That is line segment VW. Lastly, it says name a right angle, and so we have two right angles here. I'm going to just get a different color so we can see them. We have VTW or VTU here, or we have TUW. TUW. Both of those are right angles. And sometimes they will give you a square to show you that it's a right angle. Sometimes they won't. So it's just a good idea to understand what a right angle is. So I'm going to identify TUW. So I'm going to write the angle sign, which just looks like a little angle. Now I'll write TUW. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I have to put on these four angles. So we have a right angle, which forms a square corner, just like we talked about in the previous slide. A straight angle, which you may or may not see on the homework. It is just an angle that is all the way straight, which is why it's called a straight angle. An acute angle is less than a right angle, and we always talked about how, oh, it's small and acute. It's so cute. And then an obtuse angle is greater than a right angle, but less than a straight angle. So if you're having to identify or draw those angles, just look to these four for a reference point, and then that way you can draw or identify a little bit easier. So, with that being said, on this extra long video, this is Mr. Eason with Homework Help, and I will see you tomorrow.